welcome to Ready Moveset Go, episode 10. As always, I'm your host, John at Room 100, and joining me today are PK King 544.
Hello.
PizzaDudeManGuy.
Hey.
And NantenJex.
Hello.
So we are at our 10th episode. We did it. We made it.
The double digits.
Wow, I'm surprised.
People wanted to keep listening for that long.
Let's get to 100.
Yeah.
Oh, God. The next Smash will be out by then.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the spirit of being the 10th episode, kind of an anniversary, we're going through every single moveset that we've made now.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine?
The Ready Moveset Go Battle Royale.
Yeah.
We're going to rank these all on a tier list.
No, the actual theme that we have gone for this episode is one that we've gotten a good few requests for, and we've brought it up in conversation a couple different times because it's just a really fun concept, which is the generic mob or enemy. We didn't really limit the rules too much. We basically tried to establish something that is a generic name, so nothing like a mini boss or something like that might have its own kind of title, or something like a Pokemon. It gets a little bit tricky because everything is a certain thing and is named, but other than that, it can be from a series already in Smash or not, as long as it is a generic enemy. So the order that we are going in today is Pizza Dude, Nanten, PK King, and me. Is everyone ready to go?
Ready?
Yep.
Kick us off, PK. Or nope. Don't do it. PK,
My
don't
heart
do it.
dropped.
Surprise. No, Pizza, dude, go ahead.
Yeah, the other P. All right.
Yeah.
So, right now in Smash, the current generic mob character we have is Piranha Plant. And one of the excuses that they gave for that was that, it's a really iconic enemy because it's been around since the first Super Mario Brothers, which we know is BS because, there's enemies there that are way more iconic that have been, playable in, Mario Kart and Mario Party or in Mario sports games that, a lot of more people know, and it's this is more representative of a Mario mob enemy. So instead of picking any of those, I went with Cheep.
Oh my god. Hey,
right.
honestly, I'm interested.
Yeah.
All right. So the Cheep moves around by flopping, kind of like if you've ever played Paper Mario and you have Sushi, the Cheep on your party, just kind of flops around on the stage, and a lot of the attacks are flops too, and can reference certain things. I was thinking down smash could be, just flopping around in place a bunch, like when Cheeps were a stage obstacle in Mario Kart, or maybe you could have a belly flop down aerial like Sushi's belly flop attack, or the neutral aerial could be a spin attack like the attack you do as a Cheep in Mario Odyssey. And you can make up some stuff too, like a forward smash where they just kind of jumps up and does a big tail slap, or a back aerial that's just a tail slap combo. And the real special thing would just be the grabs and throws, where the grab is just jumping up and chomping on the head of your opponent. So it's kind of like, Villager's Net type of thing, where you see the character that you're fighting, but their head is gone because it's just engulfed by the Cheep, and then you just spit them out in the direction you want. As for the special moves, neutral special is Baby Cheep, based on the ability of the Big Berthas from Super Mario Bros. 3. The way it works here is it's a fairly regular projectile. You'll press the B button, and the Cheep shoots a smaller Cheep out of its mouth. What this smaller Cheep does is it acts as a kind of a medium speed moving projectile forward that will hit people and then just kind of keep going. It's like its own independent enemy. You can only have one Baby Cheep out at a time, and if it's attacked even just a little bit, it'll disappear. But otherwise, it'll go for a pretty good distance before it disappears on its own. The special thing about the Baby Cheep is after shooting it, if you catch up to it as your regular Cheep and press the B button again, you'll eat it and heal for a little bit of HP. So you can try to use it as either a projectile or as a healing move, although you shoot it and then you have to run up and catch up to it. The side B is called Squirt, and it's based both on Sushi's ability from Paper Mario as well as other attacks that Cheeps have done in a couple different Mario RPGs. But basically, it's a water squirting attack like Mario's Flood or Squirtle's water gun attack. Now, the way it works here mechanically is more like Sushi's squirt attack, where you can't store the charge. You press side B, and the Cheep starts kind of puffing up as it stores water, and then once you release the B button, it squirts. And so you can't store it like Mario or Squirtles. However, it does like charge up and come out faster, so it's a much quicker edge guarding attack that you can get out faster. But you can't store it, and you also can't change its trajectory. It's always going to be a straight shot squirt. So it's quicker, but it's more situational too. It's kind of got, the pros and cons compared to the other water attacks. Now, kind of like Diddy Kong's peanut pistol, if you charge it up too much, you'll just kind of fizzle out and dribble water all over the ground in front of you, and it doesn't do anything. So you have to be careful with how much you charge your water. The up special is called Flying Fish, based on some of the the flying Cheeps that you see in the original Super Mario Brothers. Basically, it's just a huge arcing jump as the Cheep rapidly flaps its wings. The ascension on the attack does knock opponents away. Just like in Super Mario Brothers, it deals damage to Mario. So they're flying up, they hit opponents, bounce them away. And it's a very, very high jump. It goes a good distance, which makes it nice for recovery. However, you're always going in a fixed, wide arc, so it can make the recovery awkward if you're not at the right angle. However, the nice thing about it is after you've reached the peak of your ascension, you go into a fluttering downward animation like Peach or Mr. Game & Watch. So you have a bit of control on how you're going on the way down. So even if you start your arc way off to the side, you can still recover by fluttering the rest of the way. The down special is called Puffer Cheep, based on variations of Cheeps, and I think in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga there were variations of Cheeps like this as well. Basically, mechanically, it's a bit like Kirby's Stone ability, where you go into an alternate form where you have spikes that protrude all around you. And while you're in this spiked form, where you're basically a pufferfish, you can't take any other actions besides undoing the move, but it differs from Kirby's in a couple different ways. It does not cause you to drop faster like Kirby's Stone ability. It just kind of gives you the attack immunization. But in addition to the attack immunization, the move also just deals damage all around. If someone comes up and tries to hit you while you are a spiky pufferfish, they'll take damage and bounce back. So you can turn yourself into a trap in the air, a trap on the ground, kind of a makeshift counter. And unlike Kirby's Stone, one of the advantages it has is that you can't be grabbed out of it. If someone tries to grab you, they just get hit by the spikes instead. Now, it has that kind of long end lag animation, as well as a starting one, so you can't just spam the move and expect to be safe. But it does give you a little bit more protection than Kirby's Stone in certain situations. The final smash is called Boss Bass, or it could be Cheep Chomp, basically based on the larger Mario fish enemies that swallow you in one bite and kill you, and you're going through a Mario level and you're doing great and everything's fine, and then you just die in one hit to a big dumb fish. So that's exactly how the final smash works here. What happens is the screen zooms in a little bit as the Cheep does his animation, and then from the new zoomed in screen, from this fixed camera angle a certain distance away from the Cheep, from the lower edges of where the screen is, a big fish jumps up in an arc and then jumps back down. If your opponent happens to be in the arc where this fish is jumping, they get swallowed and die. It's super unfair. However, the arc is the same every single time. So if you've seen the Final Smash before, you can figure out where to stand and how to move to avoid this giant fish, because it's only going to do its jump once. But if you set things up well as the Cheep, or if your opponent's just in a bad spot, they're just dead. Too bad, giant fish ate you. You're gone. And that is my moveset for Cheep.
Nice.
Wow.
Well,
Incredible.
I feel like a possible, like another option for the final Smash, just in the theme of underwater Mario enemies, would be bringing in the giant eel from Jolly Roger Bay
Oh, that'd be fun
Oh,
too.
God.
and having that horrifying thing destroy you.
I don't think the final Smash being like a one-hit kill is that bad. I think that considering you got ones like Petty Piranha, which are just obnoxious and hard to avoid,
Yeah.
and are basically the same thing anyway.
Right, just an elongated, inevitable death.
Yeah. And then you've got ones that kill after 100. So the inevitable death of a big fish is perfectly in line, I think.
That's a great one though. I for sure would not have thought of Cheep.
Yeah, that was not.
So,
No.
Sorry if I missed it. How do they move around the stage? Do they like flop around, or are they swimming?
Yeah, it's like when Sushi is following you in Paper Mario. They just kind of belly flop on the ground.
Oh, okay.
Damn, I'd feel bad. Like, I don't know. Oh, that's good. And I like the whole thing of like throwing the baby as well.
Eating the baby though is
And eating the baby.
it's a bit
Throw
different.
the baby and eat the baby are things you don't usually talk about.
Yeah.
No.
Eat the baby to heal.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. I don't want to spoil anything, but I wonder if like spawning in like other entities is going to be a common thing with this, because like generic mobs usually spawn in groups, so that just kind of like fits with that sort of theme.
Mobs supporting one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few things that I would be curious to see if they come up or not. One is just like, I feel like mobs in general have, because they're so simple, they have like really easy to explain moves, but in a good way. It's not just like with a sword, like, oh, they slash a sword, or with fists, like they punch you.
Yeah.
Like they use their body for everything because that's what they got. But like it because of the design, it has to be done in an interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely saw that with Cheep. And I would imagine we will see that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, like some kind of like being a big group or spawning something would be interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll see as we go along. But yeah, Cheep is good. Eating the babies is questionable, but that's fine.
Do what you gotta do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. And I'm also curious if we will see any more Mario mobs as well, because Mario is kind of a goldmine.
Absolutely.
Iconic mobs.
Yeah, if I wasn't trying to have avoided Mario, I would have done someone like Spike or something from Mario.
Right.
Some sort of slightly more obscure but also well-known enemy. But I wanted to avoid Mario ones. I already did Hammer Brother for the assist trophy.
Right.
Cork we had. So instead I have looked on to Nintendo's other flagship franchise in The Legend of Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think mob, the first enemy that came to my mind was the Moblin enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they come in a lot of variations. They gave me a lot to sort of choose from, but they all have a common themes. But for the design, I went with the Wind Waker ones, because I feel like of all the modern designs of the Moblins, they're probably the most iconic ones, considering their role in like the Wind Waker as guardians of the Forsaken Fortress, and you have to sneak past them and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like, I think that one works the best for Smash. I don't think the Breath of the Wild one works very well, and the Skyward Sword one is like the big fat one with the shield.
Yeah.
That I also don't think works as well. So the Wind Waker Moblin is who I have gone for in this. And obviously their sort of main weapon is the really long spear lance that they carry around, and then the lantern that they've got in their other hand. They carry the lantern on their side most of the time, and most of their standard attacks are using the spear in some ways, like sweeping and stabbing. They use it with both hands. A very wide, like their forward smash is like a very wide swing with a lot of build up, like that move that they use in the Wind Waker that knocks Link down when he gets hit by it. And it can also take some of the moves that Link himself also uses when he's using their spear when you take it from them. I think the Wind Waker one allows for like a lot of really fun and goofy animations.
Yeah.
And it's also more pig-like, where like a lot of the classic Moblins look more like bulldogs. But the pig's theme fits better with Ganon, I think. That's what a lot of their standards and stuff are, and their grabs are a bit more like generic. You know, they actually just grab and hit and snarl and do all stuff like that to whoever they're fighting. But for the specials, I took a bit. I prioritized the Wind Waker because that's the version of the Moblin there is. But a lot of these are also just stuff that Moblins generally do. So, like, for the standard B is that they throw the lance straight forward, and it goes in like a straight line, just like the mobs of old do in The Legend of Zelda. You know, you got like the blue mobs that can throw their spear at you. I think they're blue. And that's the same thing in like A Link Between Worlds and Link's Awakening. You got the standard mobs that just attack, and then the stronger ones that throw stuff. So that's what that's what that is, because I feel like that had to be in the moveset some way.
Does the spear just kind of go and like respawn at you, or does it go and come back?
No, it just goes and respawns at. It could be a fun idea that you have to go pick the spear up, because that's the thing that you would have to do in the Wind Waker. That's what if they throw their spear at you, then they have to pick it up. But in the original games, they don't have to do that. They just, they can constantly throw the spear. So it depends on what the Moblin could do without the spear. It depends if you'd want to design two movesets, essentially, where when he doesn't have the spear, he's just punching people, because the spear isn't necessarily needed for all the other specials, and that's because the down special and the up special are both references to the Wind Waker. So the down special is the lantern that they've got, that they've had in, like, whenever they see Link when he's in the Forsaken Fortress, they'll throw the lantern down to the ground and cause a big fire, and so it's kind of like Richter and Simon's down B with the Holy Flames, but the flame is much bigger, so it's got a wider hitbox, but you can only do one at a time. You can't just throw lots of lanterns down. I thought that was a good down B, and then the up B summons the Kargarok enemy, which is the birds that they used when they fly in before their fight. Like that's how the fight will start. The Moblin will be like dropped into the level with the Kargarok. So I just thought, well, the Kargarok can then also be for their up B, where it just appears on their back and flies them up, kind of like Duck Hunt Dogs, in fact. Now that I think about it, and it will also start to struggle because of how heavy the Moblin is if you don't land it at some point. So that's the up B. And then the side B is actually a reference to Ocarina of Time's Moblins, which were very rare. They only appear in the Lost Woods in the maze, but there are the ones with the big clubs that hit the ground.
Oh, right.
That guard the forest temple. So I thought I called it Ground Shaker in my notes with brackets Club Moblin. So either they can use the spear, but if we did want to go for a style where the Moblin has to pick up his spear if he throws it, and all of his standards just change to punching attacks, I think I'd just have him spawn a club, just so that special move could still be used. But the point is, like, he swings down and hits the ground, and the more you charge that, the further the blast will go, I guess. Like the dirt blast. Obviously, if you do it in the air, you're not hitting anything, so it's just like a sort of very strong, like Donkey Kong's side B, right? Like a very strong hit in front. But potentially, if you hit them on a sweet spot on the club, like if you're super close, you might bury them. But the bigger focus is that it will send a shockwave forward that goes further depending on how much is charged. And then for the final smash, I've called it either the Forsaken Fortress or the Moblin Army. He essentially throws the lantern down again and whistles, and anyone who's caught in it will then have like a bunch of spotlight. It'll be taken to like a different scene, like how Pyra and Mithras are, and a bunch of spotlights will shine down on the opponents, and then you'll just get like a bunch of Forsaken Fortress Moblins, Bokoblins, whatever the birds, potentially even having a Phantom Ganon show up. They'll all just sort of surround and charge in and start pummeling the enemy before it then cuts back to the fight.
You get mobbed by a Moblin mob.
Yeah, you get mobbed by the Moblins. Yep. And yeah, that's the moveset. I think it's primarily Wind Waker focused because that was the design I thought was best, but I feel like it's incorporated elements from all of the Moblins from throughout the series, except that maybe not the Breath of the Wild one because of how varied, how situational those Moblins act.
Yeah.
But all of the classic Moblins, I feel like I've encompassed in this moveset.
Yeah,
I'm happy you did that because that's like the main mob of Zelda.
Yeah.
I kind of can't ignore that too much.
Literally named after the word mob. Like,
It's great because it has that pig motif that we don't have in Smash Brothers at all with any of the Zelda enemies besides Ganondorf's final smash.
Yeah, like people might argue that Ganon is too big. The next character is too big for Smash.
I guess.
But the Moblin is the right size.
There we go. Yeah, whatever. We got Ridley and K. Rool. We can get Ganon.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, it's a cool idea. I like how you encompass like I don't know. I feel like that's the same thing with Piranha Plant, where it's like it's encompassing every element of that enemy into one Smash Brothers character. I think that's a great way to do mobs, and it's really fun to see the Moblin because it is such a iconic enemy of Zelda.
Yeah, it just worked. It just worked very well, so I thought it was a good choice.
One the thing I really like about using the Wind Waker design too, which I know you brought up, is just the facial expressions and stuff that you can have them do. Like imagine the Moblin getting hit, it's just like it's just always, or like the taunts, it's just like it has its big dumb floppy face making faces at you.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I think of Moblins, that's the one that I think of first, because like they had such a big presence in that game. Because it was like they were technically in Ocarina of Time, but they're so not there.
I kind of forgot about them. Yeah, I forgot about them until you mentioned them. Like, oh right, there were Moblins in that game.
Yeah, like they appear in one area, they barely do anything.
There's like what, four of them?
They're very different from the usual Moblins because they're also like gigantic in Ocarina of Time.
I guess the other mob, the non-ground shakers ones, like maybe that dash. Their rush attack could be the dash attack or something.
That would work perfectly for the dash attack. Like, I feel like there's like a lot you can pull from. I'm sure there's stuff from the Skyward Sword Moblins that don't use the shield that could also potentially work for standard attacks. I just don't really remember the Skyward Sword Moblins that much, other than the fact that you cut their shields apart.
I remember hitting them from behind, and that's about it.
Yeah. And leaning away from the Breath of the Wild ones is good because, like you said, with the Wind Waker, they're really expressive. I feel like the Breath of the Wild ones, like facially, aren't really that expressive.
Yeah,
like it's mostly just the way they act.
I didn't think they'd be very interesting. Like, I wouldn't mind playing as a Wind Waker Moblin, but I don't think I'd be interested in playing as a Breath of the Wild one. It's just sort of really lanky and weird.
It's not tall and yeah. They don't they look a lot weaker and tall, and the body type just doesn't really work.
Yeah, it's not there.
The other thing I was gonna say is with the spear throw, I think it makes total sense to just like throw it and then has it again, just because I feel like that's a very classic like old video game and old Zelda type of thing where just like everything is a projectile for some reason. So
how do we make this harder? Just have him throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be like Pyro Side B, where like he doesn't have it for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that. I just don't know if maybe like it would just disappear into a puff of smoke, like when the enemies are defeated, and then it just respawns in the Moblin's hand.
That's a good one too. Oh, you could just give him a straight up like Ganon palette swap too. That would be good.
Oh, yeah,
Ganon palette. Like Moblins come in so many different colors based on their strength. So like you'd have the standard one would be the black one. And then you could have an orange one and a red one and a blue one as reference to the very first Zelda game. Then a white one as a reference to Breath of the Wild's white Moblins. And then I'm sure there are others. A Ganon palette swap is a pretty simple one.
You could have a pink one that just looks like a pig.
Yeah, that would also work. Just actual pig-colored Moblin.
But yeah, good moveset. I mean, Zelda and Moblin makes total sense. I mean, I'm starting with Mario and Zelda mobs makes total sense, I think.
Yeah. And I'm about to throw that away.
All right.
all right. Go on, PK.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I need y'all to hear me out real quick. When I think of video games like as a whole, and I think of like mobs, like the most generic mob in like all of video game, not necessarily even the most like iconic, but like the most common, my mind instantly went to zombies.
Yes.
Because like zombies are in like every game almost. But I didn't want to just do like the concept of zombies like as a whole. So I'm like, okay, what like specific zombie can I do? Because the only zombie in Smash right now is the zombie skin for Steve. So I'm like, that doesn't really count. So I went with the zombies specifically from Plants vs. Zombies, not Garden Warfare, the original like Plants vs. Zombies. Because Garden Warfare, they're all just carrying guns. I'm like, that's not a zombie, you know? So, like, there are a lot of different types of zombies from Plants vs. Zombies, and there are, like, special ones and, like, boss ones and stuff like that I tried to omit, like, ones that have very specific requirements for spawning. I'm like, okay, that's too much. You don't exist. So the moveset generally consists of, you know, the regular iconic, like, normal zombie, and then he'd kind of, like, wear a bunch of different hats and, like, do what he needs to do to fight. Like, his jab would just be his normal, like, weak swing as a zombie, but then things like his up tilt, he'd like wave the flag from the flag zombie. His forward tilt, he'd like open a screen door from the screen door zombie. Down tilt, he'd just probably slap. I couldn't think of anything for down tilt. Up smash, he wears like the bucket hat armor, and he has like super armor and like a head swing, kind of like Game & Watch. Side smash, he turns into like the football zombie and like charges forward. Down smash, he's the Jack in the Box zombie and like blows up. And it's a pretty like simple moveset. Even the aerials, like, it's not too complicated. I think like the neutral air, he has a little like a floaty device, and he like puffs that up. The down air is a little interesting. There's a bungee zombie that like bounces down and like swings at you, and I thought that could be a cool down air if he like kind of anchors himself where he is, drops down a little bit, swipes, and then like bounces back up. So it could be pretty safe. And then there are other things like his back air. He has a pogo stick. He could like charge up the pogo stick and hit behind him, and that could launch him forward as well. Up air could be like a little cone head stab and puts like the cone on his head. Did I say all the arrows? I think I did. And then where it gets interesting though is, his forward air? Yeah, his forward air, he has like a little newspaper that he slaps. But then where it gets interesting is his specials. Obviously. So I'm like, okay, zombies, they fight in herds. Like, that's just what they do. So the down B, there is a a dancing zombie in the game that summons 4 other zombies around them. Now, this is a top-down game. Now we're in a 2D game. So they're only going to summon like 2, like on 1 on each side, because 4 would be a little bit too much, like in addition to you. So it's you use down B, 2 more zombies come, you have to kill those 2 zombies before you can use that move again, and the zombies would have like 1 or 2 HP, like they wouldn't be too strong, and it would work just like Ice Climbers. Like, they'd follow you, do exactly what you do the same moves that you do, and really just like increase your range in both areas, because you're a zombie. Like, you don't fight by yourself. That's not how that works. So the character himself would be pretty weak if he could just summon like 2 more of them, or maybe the 2 more would be like weaker versions to balance it out. Blah blah blah. We balance after. Okay, this is the moveset.
Yeah. Constant first, balance later.
Yeah. So the up B is balloon float. They all tie balloons to themselves and like float up for a little bit. Side B is digger. There's a digger zombie, and he just kind of digs in the ground and pops back up on the other side of the stage, because zombies do that. They pop from the ground. So I felt like that was pretty necessary, and you can kind of go any direction you want to do. You can't be in the ground too long, and then you have, oh my god, my notes are so bad. Okay, neutral B is ladder. There's a ladder zombie that literally, when he dies, just places a ladder so other zombies can like jump over like obstacles and stuff like that. This one for neutral B, you're just gonna place down the ladder, and now there's a ladder there. That's it. Like, ladder is how they work in Smash, because no other character can put a ladder down, and barely any stages have ladders. So I just thought, hey, what if you can have ladder fights now, just with this character? Yeah. So he just puts down a ladder, and it just works like it does on any stage that has ladders. Yeah, so that's fun. And is that everything? Down B, side B, up. Yeah, that's more or less everything. I mean, the taunts would reference the plants, because like obviously you have to put them in somewhere. And first Final Smash, originally I put it as like the final boss, like Dr. Zomboss. Maybe that's a little too leading into the like established character kind of thing. So it could just be like a herd of zombies, or it could have like something to do with the plants, or blah blah. It could just be a million zombies attacking you. But I originally wrote down for Zomboss to come, and he drops down a bunch of zombies on you, and he throws like fireballs and ice balls as well. But it'd just be a cool cinematic one, and you'd explode and die. And yeah, for the most part, that's Zombie. I just didn't really use any of the super special condition ones, or ones where they're like riding vehicles, because I'm like, that's just too much. Or ones that really change the appearance, like the huge buff one that throws little ones, like no. But yeah, that's Zombie.
Nice.
Cool.
That's a great one. I have a bunch of thoughts on that one, just because it's for one. I was asking my my girlfriend just for like if there's anything that immediately came to her head. The first and main thing that she said was Zombie. Like I think Zombie's a great one for generic mob.
Yeah, the zombies are a unique. The zombies are a unique case where it's pretty much iconic itself. Like it's a mob enemy, but it's also like crazy recognizable because it's almost mascot level for that series.
Exactly, I was going to say that.
Like, it works really. It works as a good representative for Smash.
Yeah, well, because for Plants vs Zombies, that's definitely. Yeah, it's interesting. The representative character is just a mob. Because I know, some people brought up, have Crazy Dave. I like this better, actually. Just have a zombie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Some of the other moves I like the I think the down air where you bungee from a set point. That's really cool. I like those kind of weirder working aerials.
Yeah,
because we don't really see a whole lot. I think something really interesting is if you make those like the horde of yourself, where I guess you would put like one on your left and right. Yeah. Something really interesting could be if you use the ladder, you only make one ladder, and then you can kind of send them up at like different times and like rearrange yourself in a way. Only the middle one would make the ladder. So then like if the middle one goes up first, then the middle one is in front this time. Or like you could send one of the other ones up first. Like that could be something weird and interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking because I had a couple of just like, because I really like this idea. Now I'm like brainstorming things. And so I'm like, yeah, with the ladders, I was writing, it's like, okay, is there a ladder limit? Which I guess there would have to be at some point.
Ladder on the ladder.
Yeah, that's right. And then, for like the summoning zombies thing, I was thinking, it's been a while. Didn't Plants vs. Zombies have like a multiplayer mode where like one person was the plants and one person was the zombies, and you used like tombstones to summon zombies?
I think that was like, I don't know if that was in like the base game or if that was like a mini game or like a spin-off or something, but I vaguely remember that. Like, yeah.
And so I was like, maybe the thing, I don't know, it's just as a balancing thing. It's like, maybe the thing that you could do for like when you get more zombies that like are ice climbery or ditto to you, would be like, you set down a tombstone and that'll like summon them over time and people have to destroy the tombstones. But I don't know, I was just trying to brainstorm ideas of like, incorporating gameplay elements of Plants vs. Zombies into the moveset. Yeah. So I just got a lot of ideas going around. I really want to fight to Zombie on Your Lawn now. That'd be fun.
Yes.
There's a zombie.
No, the copyright pizza.
Great. I sound so much like the. I'm gonna get auto-scanned.
What was the side B again? That's the only.
It was Digger. There's a Digger zombie, and they kind of dig through the floor. Yeah, this one. I mean, it would have to be fast, like, maybe not like Fox level fast, but you can't just be underground for a minute. Mm-hmm. But zombies dig and pop up.
It would probably work kind of like Greninja's side B, where he's just like a shadow and you can track him along the ground kind of thing.
It's just a little like dirt barrel moving across the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a really good one. No, because I was thinking how I would do some kind of generic zombie horde. I guess from my experience, like in gaming, I probably would have picked like Left 4 Dead or something.
I did think about that.
But I mean, so like for Left 4 Dead, you literally can't do any of the zombies unless you include the fun special ones, because they're the ones that are cool. But because the only real mechanic that I could think of was like you start as a horde, like it's like 10 zombies or so that like all function as one, and then like you kill, like, they get killed individually, so like as you're fighting them, the goal is to kill all the zombies, but like the more you lose, maybe the weaker they get or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think yours is a little more streamlined and a little more easy to implement, while still having the horde idea in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have a lot I can say about Plants vs Zombies because I've not actually played the games, so I don't know a lot about them.
Nanten, we need a tower defense representative. They're criminally underrepresented in Smash Brothers.
That's true.
I mean, that's true. That's just very true.
We have too many JRPG characters. They're neglecting the other genres.
Too many anime swordsmen. That is a good point. Like, what else are you gonna do? The monkey from like the balloon game?
Balloons. I mean, I would say Dylan, I guess, from Dylan's Rolling Western, if you're going to do a tower defense one. But I mean, he's also not a mob. If you want to do a mob tower defense
the zombie
one, then I think the zombie would be the best choice. I mean, I like the idea, because it's a tower defense game, I think the idea of having enemies spawning makes a ton of sense. Because that's what that happens in that game. It's waves of zombies. And so managing to incorporate that into a moveset is good shout.
Clearly, our tower defense representative has to be Slippy Toad.
Oh my god.
It's true, that is a tower defense game, isn't it?
I guess. Has anyone even played that? Like, anyone in the world?
I played it once.
Like, I never saw anything after the initial, like, reveal. Oh my god.
No, but see, what you do is you it's a 2-for-1. You not only represent tower defense, but represent battle royale. It's Jonesy from Fortnite, baby.
Oh no.
No, wait, did you actually? Oh,
You know
okay,
what?
I thought you...
He's not a mob, so I don't think we should talk about
Yes,
him.
of course.
I mean, wait, no. This is an interesting topic. What if, like, you're playing Battle Royale and, like, everybody is Jonesy? Like, they all have that skin.
So
like,
is an avatar a
Jonesy.
mob? Is, I guess, our new, like, do Pokemon count? Is an avatar.
Yeah, because, like, technically someone's playing as them, but from your point of view, like...
I mean, some of
just...
Steve's alts are mobs.
Yeah.
True.
I'm gonna say, if you're playing 8-player Smash and everyone is Mario, Mario does not become a mob. So that's the end of the argument.
It's
Okay,
me,
fine.
Mabio!
Oh my gosh, okay.
All right, so
Just leaves you now, Room.
yep, I mentioned, we started out with the really big series, Mario and Zelda. Those were my two choices. I picked a mob from each, basically. Since we started with Mario, I'm going to close it out with Mario.
All right.
However, the characters that we chose are, I think, maybe as far apart on the weight scale as they possibly could be. So I went with Chain Chomp.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Chain Chomp, he's in Mario Tennis. He's getting some time as a playable character now. So Smash is the next step, and he'll be the first upgraded assist trophy.
There we go. That's right.
Which would be truly hilarious if Chain Chomp became a playable character before Waluigi.
Damn.
It's deserved.
So Chain Chomp, obviously, you have to work with the fact that he's just a giant ball and mouth, basically, with a chain. He's moving around very similar to Cheep. Cheep, he'd kind of be bouncing and hopping around, except for, obviously, he's very large, very heavy. Probably has a fair amount of armor on some of his moves. So for things like any of the normals, would be some combination of like a lesser kind of bite, bumping with like the head or body. Down tilt is a roll, like you see a lot in, I think, Mario Galaxy, they roll around. And then to more directly represent some things, the dash attack and the forward air would be a kind of arcing lunge, which is very similar to when they get freed in the games from the peg. The chain could be used in a couple different ways, including back air, but I think the main way I was able to use it where it had to be used was the grab.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Chain Chomp would kind of whip around and wrap whoever is in front of it in the chain, and then pummel with biting, and then just kind of like whip and throw them away. The thing that made me really go forward with this moveset, which is like how fun it could be, is that with F smash and up smash, which are just kind of like the normal charge lunge bites that Piranha Plant, that Chain Chomp does. It actually is kind of similar to Piranha Plant's down B. Funny that I should mention that. But because you can tilt the smashes, you basically get the full like arc angle around yourself that the chain chomp can normally bite in.
Oh.
So you can tilt the F smash up, and you can tilt the up smash to the left and right, and you can basically cover all around you with that iconic kind of bite. And then down smash, which is just a big ground pound, just hops up and slams down. For the specials, I tried to pull from just a couple different concepts and games. The neutral B is basically just a big charge forward, just goes really far, and it's just a super powerful bite. It's basically like Wonder Wing. Obviously, you could balance it out a little more. It would probably be a little weaker, but I think you could aim it so you're not just going completely in front of you. But I mean, this is anything from like pulling the chain chomp and firing it to any time where it just charges up and goes forward. That is basically what this is representing. Side B is spinning on the bottom of it and just goes kind of forward like Incineroar, and this is most directly based off of Mario Odyssey, when it kind of gets thrown forward and spins. Up B is a little weird because an easier option would have been to just give it the wings from like Mario Maker or something like that, but I chose to go with a flying platform, which is more representative of when the chain chomp is used in a boss fight against Iggy, I believe. And so the chain chomp becomes tethered to the bottom of a flying platform, and you basically just control the platform. So you would hit up B, you are flying around on the platform for a short little time. With the chain chomp, you can't really move that much. I would say you could still tap A to bite, but for the most part, this is a fairly safe recovery because you have the platform on top and the biting chain chomp on bottom, but it is also fairly slow and easy to disrupt. And then down B is Overheat, which is based off of Mario Sunshine. You just hold it down for a little bit, and if you are able to hold it down for the full duration, you start glowing with kind of heat, and you get faster, and your attacks have more power. But to balance it out, you also take more damage and knockback. And whether you are dealing the damage or taking the damage is going to wear off that overheat status. So it's kind of like, again, Incineroar with his counter, but instead of like absorbing damage, you basically just charge it up for a second, and it works kind of like Shulk's Smash Monado, where you're dealing more, but you're also taking more. And then the final smash is just called Mega Chomp, and I think it would just be a really simple on stage one where you whip people in front of you with your chain, and that stuns them in place. You hop over to the side to get a Mega Mushroom, become super huge, and then just charge forward and eat everyone.
Sounds right.
So fits.
So yeah, that's a chain chomp. You know, there's plenty of other colors. The only other silly thing that I thought of is for a classic mode, it could be called like Breaking Free, and it would be characters who like have been freed in some way or something like that.
Characters that have been to jail. So I couldn't help but notice there was no tennis chain chomp. No, I'm kidding. No, that was pretty
tennis
good.
hat ult.
Yeah, because every time I see chain chomp, I'm like, okay, well, like that would be funny, but well, like, oh, he's gonna bite you, and then he's gonna headbutt you, like what? But I like how you use the chain in a lot of it, because that's something that, like, I don't know, for some reason, I just never even like. I mean, I see it, but I never really saw it. You know, like the fact that he like whips around and grabs with the chain, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That like a lot of stuff could be like pulled from there when you start like adding the chain like that. So that was good. I like that.
Yeah, I originally toyed around with a concept of like the most iconic part of Chain Chomp, but it just didn't work out. Was something like down B would actually tether you to a certain point.
I was thinking about
you'd
that.
be able to like whip around in a circle with certain moves, or like
I guess yeah, maybe that could just be part of the animation for either the neutral or side B or something.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, that's true. It just didn't, because like it would be fun, like it would definitely be annoying. You would have to make it not spammable, because like you're about to die and then you just like boop, and you just pop it down,
Swing,
where
throw
you are.
yourself back up. Yeah.
I had a couple questions. For the up special, did you consider, because it was the first thing that popped in mind for me, did you consider using the the flying Chomp from Mario 3?
I did not. I guess that didn't come up for me. Is that how does?
There's a flying Chomp?
Yeah. How does that
Yeah, it uses fire to fly around.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Let's
I
look it
don't
up.
Yeah, no, I think it's either called Fire Chomp or Flying Chomp. It was a Chomp variant in Mario 3 that flied around using fireballs.
Oh, I see.
And so that was the first thing that came to mind for like a recovery special. But I was like, oh yeah.
Like instead of chains, it's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's another alternative that, that can be used.
That'd be a good either aerial or up B for sure.
So, and then the other thing I wanted to know, on a scale from Super Mario Brothers 3 to Super Mario 64 Sunshine, how big is the Chain Chomp regularly?
Right. I think Bowser size would probably be. It would feel large and intimidating, but not be like huge.
Yeah, kind of a Mario Tennessee Chomp.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
How big is that compared to the actual assist trophy?
That's a good
Chain
question.
Chomp?
Let me look at the. I feel like it's gonna be a little
like
bit
that.
bigger, but let me. I haven't seen the assist trophy in a while.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that one's quite big.
It does look
That's
pretty
why
big,
I'm wondering,
actually.
but it's
Let me see.
just going from my memory.
Is this from? The problem is I also can't tell if it's from if it's from 3DS or from Ultimate, which I don't know if there's any big change there. I guess it'd be a little bit smaller from what I can tell,
Okay, I think that probably makes more sense.
but not a whole lot. Like there's a picture here. That scale feels pretty good actually, because again it's all about making it large enough that it's kind of intimidating, but and it's definitely going to be one of the heaviest characters, I think.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
Yeah.
It's big metal ball.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was my main choice. My backup choice, like I said, that one was from Zelda, but I did want to specifically reference one of the most iconic enemies right now, so I was going to try to do a Guardian moveset.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Nice.
Where the Guardian fell apart was aerials, though, which is why I ultimately was planning on doing Chain Chomp first, because they're not really made to be in the air.
There's the helicopter variant, I guess. You know, the flying
that's
one.
true.
So you could have it like sort of retract its arms in, and the little helicopter comes out the top or something like that. I don't know. Or it just lifts its arms up and spins them and lifts itself up that way.
Its neutral B is Guardian Laser. It kills you in one hit.
Oh god.
You just disintegrate right there.
Yeah.
Yep,
But if it's
it.
reflected back, it instantly kills you. So watch out.
There we go. That's the balance. That's how it balances out.
Yeah. So basically, to quickly go through the way I'd build it, it was like a combination of the main normal Guardian. Neutral B is the laser, but it doesn't one-shot you.
No, of course not. Yeah.
But it also combines with the Guardian Scouts. So all the smash attacks are like different weapons. Like F smashes
really cool.
is sideways with the battle axe and etc. Down smashes with the sword. And then the specials are the laser. Side B is the spinning blade rush that the Scout does. And the scaling, I guess, to put it in perspective, the scaling of the Guardian would be somewhere in between that Scout and normal Guardian. Like, probably height-wise, it might be the tallest new fighter, but not trying to make it massive. Again, same thing with Chomp. Up B would be the spinning laser where it makes, like, a lot of wind around itself. So that's how it would work on stage, but then in the air, it would just do a quick spin with the laser and a gust of wind would lift it up. And then down B is, like, 4 little explosions along the ground, like the Scout does as well. So yeah, that was my other one, and there's a lot of things I really liked about it, but again, the aerial aspect of it made it feel a little bit worse as a fighter character in Smash. But I thought Chain Chomp had enough kind of like mobility, and I mean he's always hopping around, so he made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
How about anyone? I know Pizza and Nanten said that they had one main choice. Was there any other considerations, or PK, did you have some other thoughts?
Not really. I didn't really think of anything, because every time I kind of did, it either was like, oh, like, that's too, I don't know, it was either it's too nothing, or that's too, like, like obvious, and I was like, no. So, I mean, I was thinking the whole Pokemon thing for a bit, but then I'm like, no, that's not even. They're not. That doesn't count.
Yeah, that one's not so fun.
See, I was just trying to think of what would be a funny idea, you know, with their first mob being Piranha Plant, what would be a funny follow-up? And after a bit, my mindset was, oh, what if they did another Mario mob enemy, but it was another really weird one? Like, it wasn't Goomba or Koopa Trooper or Hammer Brother. They just did. So I went with Cheep. But over the course of this recording, I was like, oh, you know what I should have done? I don't know if I should have done it, but another fun one that I would think about now, it'd be to try to come up with a moveset for Thwomp.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I thought about that too, actually. I thought about that while we were recording. I was wondering if you could, like, just combine all the different types of Thwomps, and, like, maybe they do have arms and legs, but then, like, for smash attacks and stuff, they'd like, retract or something.
No, you just make it like a Womp then, in that case. And then...
I don't know.
Like, I mean, the only other thing the one I was thinking of was like a Sonic mob, like maybe the Egg Pawn.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
but like, it was a bit weird on that one because I was kind of like, yeah, they'd be weird to have the Egg Pawn before Dr. Eggman himself.
I don't know. A lot of the egg pawns just aren't that
riots.
interesting to me either.
I mean,
so,
they have enough variation that you could easily pull a moveset from, like the spear and the bazooka, and there's the flying ones. Like, I thought Egg Robot initially, but then I thought actually that's more of like a mini boss type thing. Like, I know in Sonic's campaign it's like a generic enemy, but then in Knuckles' campaign it's like the final boss of Sonic and 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. So
Right.
it was like, don't think I'll go for that one. That was the only other thought I had. Like I said, I was trying to avoid doing Mario, and I didn't want to do Pokemon, and I didn't want to do Kirby because of Bandana D. So
yeah.
Right.
yeah, so it's just settled on Zelda, and then just hope no one else picked it.
I did think about doing... I thought about doing, like, some really weird Kirby enemy. Like, oh, here's my moveset for Bronto Burt. Or something like that.
He's a bully, that Bronto Burt.
That's right.
Yeah, so my short list was my like closest to a third consideration if I really needed it was a Boo.
Yeah.
And there's some fun things, but like the main thing was I couldn't really think of a good gimmick build around like you get extra damage hitting them in the back or something like that. And then the other one I really wanted to do, but I just could not make it work, was I wanted to represent Pikmin enemies in some ways because I feel like they're such a big part of it. So I was like trying to think of a Bulborb moveset, and I think scaling wise it would look pretty decent, but I just couldn't. There just kind of wasn't enough for me to focus on only one enemy type from Pikmin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then otherwise I was looking at like an elite from Halo or like any of the shooter things. So like it could have been an elite, could have been a Revenant or Cacodemon from Doom, but any of those just didn't fill out that well as well.
I did have two that I thought of briefly, but again, I was like, I don't know if it meets the criteria, because I was thinking Octoling, but technically you can play as them now. So I'm like, okay, maybe it could be the Octarians on those little like robot thingies. But I'm like, that's just kind of lame. Like, I wouldn't want to pick that, you know? And then I thought, like, obviously my brain immediately like went to Earthbound, and I thought like, okay, what's like an iconic one that is still like a common one? I was like, oh, you can do like the pig mask from Mother 3, but even that isn't like super common, and they would just like have a gun. If we got that before Masked Man, I'd be mad. So I'm like, okay, Ultimate Chimera, like that would be interesting, but his whole thing is that he one-shots you, so you can't really do that.
I joked about, I think in the last episode, I joked about doing one for New Age Retro Hip.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. He could like use a ruler and tell you that your mom is calling you.
I think that was pretty much it.
There's plenty of concepts, but just like it's hard to make movesets for a lot of them, I feel like. But I mean, and it's just such a wide variety, but it is so easy to go to Mario.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Mario.
there are some Mario mobs that would just actually be like fantastic, like Magic Koopa or Shy Guy. Like there's so much to work with those ones.
I considered Shy Guy, but didn't go for it. No, I mean it's looking at an ocean of characters. It's
Yeah.
like we could either name every single enemy from every game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
we
It
could
was
just,
going forever.
We could have
Just
done
step away.
Starman. We could have done a
Starman's a
hunt,
good one.
like or one of the enemies from Metro. Like, we guess we could have just done a Metroid.
Yeah,
I
could have done a
didn't think
Space
about that, yeah.
Pirates. Could have done
Yeah.
one of the many Mega Man enemies that there are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do a helmet.
Oh yeah, do a Sniper Joe. There we go.
How about you guys list off some ideas in the comments?
Yeah,
There we go. That'll be a lot more
What
productive.
mob
I think.
do you want to see?
Are Tetraminos a mob?
I picked enemy Myrmidon from Fire Emblem.
Oh wow.
There you go.
Enemy soldier. There we.
That is
Great.
how you actually do make everyone leave. Is not all
Enemy
next
not
Fire Emblem
Myrmidon,
characters.
literally generic anime sort.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. I guess the order we went in to wrap things up. Pizza Dude,
I'm PizzaDudeManGuy.
Yep. Okay.
Nanten.
Yep. You can find me on the All Source Gaming. As always, go there. The Brawl Cut Characters video will be out by then. At least it better be by the time this video's out. Jeez, I don't want to be late. So yeah, go there.
Yeah.
There's that one's good. There's a few enemies. Not enemies. There's a few characters in that one that haven't been mentioned before. That aren't even on the definitive unused fighter list on the website.
Ooh.
Which is cool. It's revealing for the first time. So look forward to that. Or go watch it now, in fact, 'cause it'll be out. So what am I saying? Look forward to it. Look forward to it in 2 minutes when you go and watch it.
Look retroactively forward to it.
Yeah.
That's just nostalgia, isn't it? Anyway, so PK.
Oh yeah, I'm PK King on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. The Loading just came out. I mod for Rivals of Aether. My character just came out. Room did a lot of the music for him, so thank you. And I'm working on his stage right now, which is going to be playing a lot of that music. So check him out. And I'm also putting Mask Man because PK's in the name. So check that out. Yeah.
Nice. And I am of course here. I guess by the time this comes out, I'm doing a little. I made a little March Smashness bracket based on all of the most wanted newcomers based on Source Gaming's poll and Global Smash roster. So I'm just gonna kind of go through that in a video. I got a new review series that I've been doing, which is neat.
Yeah.
Gonna talk about WandaVision in 3D World. But anyway, yeah, so until then, you can obviously check all of these guys out. You can subscribe to here. There'll be plenty of more Smash along with some other stuff. And yeah, go make sure follow me and everyone else here on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.